The problem is you're trying to be too smart, and you don't realize that everybody you see that has the success that you want is probably dumber than you, or they're at least smart enough to know when to act dumb. You know that bell curve that's like the dumb person and the smart person arrive at the same conclusion, which is success, and then the person in the middle gets fucked because they're just like, oh, I can't pick, I can't decide, I need to analyze, I need to choose perfect, when the idiot underthinks and the smart person overthinks. One of my favorite quotes is, the real utility of thought is knowing what thoughts you shouldn't listen to. The real utility of thought is knowing what thoughts you shouldn't listen to. And right now, you can't decipher which thoughts are trying to sabotage you. And you're probably getting caught up trying one business model or one vehicle, one mechanism to solve whatever problem you have in life right now. And you'll try it for a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months, but you're never fully convinced on it. You're never fully like, okay, this is the path that I am going down, because you're not fully convinced on yourself. That's the real issue, and I'll get to that in a second. But you go through this loop where you try one thing for a little bit, and then you find some other guru who's talking about a different business model, and you're like, oh, maybe that's the thing for me. Maybe that's the real solution. And you just go in this pattern over and over because you can't commit to yourself. And that is the biggest problem. I was once in that kind of phase where I was just trying a bunch of different things, and to be fair, it helped me make some progress, but it wasn't until I realized that, okay, I'm gonna be doing this for a long time, and I'm probably gonna have a handful of different careers and different little paths along my journey. Like if I try to do SMMA right now, or if I try to do sales right now, as long as I maximize that opportunity, it'll at least make me some money and potentially steer me to a better opportunity. That's what you don't understand, is like, you're not marrying the thing that you choose right now. I don't think you're gonna get down on one knee and propose to this business model and say, I'm gonna live the rest of my life with you. So you gotta just pick one thing, and then the universe will naturally redirect you. I can't tell you how many businesses I've started, like e-com, videography, ad creative agency, SMMA, a different form of SMMA, sales, copywriting, and then finally I've arrived at like where I am now. But all of that was just a culmination of me diving into something, maximizing it, getting the most that I possibly could out of it, and then I find the next move. And I'll see this in people that I hire in my business now. There's a very distinguishable difference between somebody who I think just has that kind of it factor and somebody who probably isn't gonna make it. Whenever you find somebody who has the it factor, anytime they get thrown a little life raft, they not only do they do what's asked of them, but they go above and beyond. Like I've got this one kid in my business right now who is my sales guy. He's my top closer, and he's pretty new to sales. He like just got started in this a handful of months ago. My offer is the first one that he's ever been on that's been solid. And at first it was a little shaky. Like he's decent at sales, but again, complete kind of beginner, relatively new. And over the past 3-4 months as we've been working together, I've just seen him progress from like, okay, I was kind of worried about him at first, to now he's just going above and beyond for me. Like he's doing stuff on the back end for me, setting up CRM and back end apps and automations and all of this shit that I didn't want to do. And he's continually investing in himself. He has his own mentors and he's learning as much as he possibly can. And on the other side of that, I've seen people where I know it can be a solid opportunity for them. Like I've hired closers for offers of mine, knowing that like I just need a dog. I need somebody who's gonna go above and beyond. And they'll work with me for a bit. They'll do what's asked of them, but they won't do anything that's like, okay, you really went above and beyond here. You're really trying to push the needle and make the most of this opportunity. And eventually they kind of fall off and I replace them with somebody who will do exactly that. And what's gonna happen in that scenario is that person will end up being the top closer on the team. They'll end up moving to a sales management role. They'll probably end up starting their own agency at one point. And then they'll probably end up either building a huge agency or selling their own coaching and like becoming a real success in the online money space. So if you're watching this right now and you're still thinking like, man, I just don't know what direction to go in, I don't know what to pick, I empathize with you. Like there is an excess of opportunities. Like in 2015, if you wanted to make money online, it seemed like the only thing that people were talking about was drop shipping. So you kind of had one path. You're like, all right, I'm going to be a drop shipper. Now, there's a new opportunity, a new business popping up every day. But the kind of boring, unsexy truth is none of it will work if you don't actually commit. And sure, different business models have various levels of leverage, and some are better fit for beginners and some might be a bit more difficult. But the vehicle that you're in kind of only starts to matter once you have proof of concept. And proof of concept comes from you proving to yourself and proving to the world, the universe, that like you can be a competent human being who shows up. Like if you commit to something, you show up every day, you actually see it through. When you reach the point where you're like, oh, this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought, maybe I should try a different business model, you can not listen to that thought and actually see it through. And even if you don't make crazy good money, you'll make some progress. And in that progress, you'll be able to discern, okay, I can keep going in this direction and this will lead to a good opportunity, or something will happen where the universe just starts working in your favor and you kind of see a different lane. And you take a small turn, a small detour, and it leads you to exactly where you need to be, and then you find success. So stop fucking talking to ChatGPT. Stop asking ChatGPT, what's the best business model that I can start in 2025? Like that's one of the problems with AI is like you having a conversation with ChatGPT about what direction you should go in because it's best for you. You probably feel like that's making you productive, and it's not. The other day I wrote this email about Baker Mayfield. And if you don't know Baker Mayfield, he's an American football player who won the Heisman at Oklahoma, and then he got drafted first overall to the Cleveland Browns. And if you know anything about the Cleveland Browns, you know they're an absolutely horrible, dysfunctional franchise, and they should probably move them to a different city or state because they're just retarded. But that's kind of irrelevant. Anyway, Baker gets drafted and has a really good rookie year. He takes the Browns to the playoffs, and they win their first playoff game in almost 20 years, I believe in his third season. And then in his fourth season with the team, he gets hurt and he has a pretty down year. They miss the playoffs. There's like a bunch of drama around the team. He ends up getting replaced with Deshaun Watson, who had 24 counts of sexual assault against him. That's a whole nother discussion. But then Baker requests a trade. They send him to Carolina, which is another pretty dysfunctional franchise. He doesn't play very well there. I think he was still kind of hurt, and it's just not a great situation for him to be in. He gets cut. He goes to the Rams, doesn't play much there. And then I believe 2 years ago, at the time I'm recording this, he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in his first season with Tampa, he leads them to the playoffs. He wins Most Improved Player, and I think the next year he got a really big contract. And statistically, he's a top 10 quarterback in the league right now. And this is maybe 2 years after like kind of being on the fringe of almost out of the league. And you're probably wondering where I'm going with this analogy here. So the thing about Baker, the thing about that situation was the guy had the talent, he had the skill set, he just needed the right opportunity. He just needed the right vehicle for him to shine. Right now, you're probably in one of two situations. You either need to build the foundation, you need to work on your craft and get in the gym and actually become a good, competent human being who has some level of skill set and discipline. And then you just pick any vehicle, and eventually you will find the best vehicle for you and you'll take off. And if you're in a different situation, let's say you really have kind of committed to something before and you do feel like you have a really solid skill set and a really solid foundation. Maybe you're a closer, you're a copywriter, or you're an agency owner, and you're grinding away. Like once upon a time, I was working with 20 different SMMA clients and I was barely making 15 to 20K a month. And I know that sounds good, but it felt like it could burn down at any time. And it was just kind of this business that I hated, and I was putting in so much effort, and I saw all of my friends who I didn't think were any smarter than me. I thought I was more competent, more skilled than all of them, and they were making way more money than I was. And then I pivoted to the business that I run now, where I partner with people who sell online coaching and consulting, and I just applied the same skill set that I already had to a different vehicle, and that's exactly what happened. About a year later, I hit 100K a month after being stuck for what felt like 2 years. But the only reason that I was able to end up in that position where it almost seemed like, okay, I just needed the right thing and then it was overnight success. It really wasn't that way. It was the fact that I took the less sexier route to begin with. I just started moving. I built this foundation. I built my skill set. And when the opportunity came, when I found the opportunity, I was actually prepared to capitalize on it. And that is the truth. That's the secret that you're looking for. It will work when you work. Everybody that you see online, you've seen them kind of progress through business models. You see people will start with one thing and then try something else and then try something else. And over time, things just begin to align better. But you have to earn that. I guarantee you, everybody that you've watched on social media, who you look at and you're like, damn, they're so smart. They're killing it. I want to be like them, but I don't know if I'm as smart as them. They're not much smarter than you. They just picked something, actually committed to it, and it might have been a pretty dumb decision at the time. They might have been like me and they were like, oh, I'm gonna start a lead gen agency for basketball trainers. That was the dumbest business model I possibly could have picked. But it worked because I was fully committed to making it work. Anyway, I hope you liked this one. Like, subscribe, comment, share this with your grandma. See you in the next one. Goodbye.